And so, given that prosecution is your sweet spot, Kizzy, what are the sentencing guidelines like in today's environment?
This is the bit where I get thrown in and to scare people, right? So it's I mean the sentencing guidelines have been around now for some time, since 2016, is it? So I mean we're at a stage where we have an idea of what these look like, and the reason we have these guidelines, for those who perhaps aren't familiar with them, is because it was suggested that in health and safety, the penalties that were being imposed sort of prior to 2016 were either not consistent or were not enough of a deterrent to encourage organizations and individuals to adopt this preventative, proactive approach to health and safety. The third part is the money part, where the judge is encouraged to look at the level of turnover of the organization. Even just taking those three areas on the premise that an organization is in the high culpability bracket, so that one that I was just going through the different options with you, and a harm category 1 or 2, which is fairly serious. A large organization, this is just an example, a large organization with a turnover of 50 million or more being placed in that bracket could face a fine, if it's harm category 1, of £2.4 million. That is without any physical injury occurring. And that's why I think the importance of psychosocial risk is going to start to become, it already is starting to become quite prevalent when it comes to commenting on the circumstances of a breach. But this is where I think it's going to come into its own more and more and more, is because the courts will only talk about risk. They start with risk. So this is just another risk that can be incorporated into that discussion when particularly from a prosecutor. If a prosecutor wanted to throw everything in, they'll start talking about the fact that not only have you failed to appreciate the level of risk involved from a health and safety physical point of view, but also the mental health side. You haven't appreciated the psychological or psychosocial risks involved, which has somehow contributed to the overall impact of this accident or incident, if there was one. So these are the sorts of things that judges are now talking about and they are looking at. Even if you are a smaller organization, so for example, you're a medium organization, same brackets, culpability and seriousness of harm risk, but your turnover is between 10 and 50 million, a circumstance like that could result in a £950,000 fine for that prosecution. Now, they do have a category range, so you can go down or go up based on your mitigation or aggravating factors. But the fact that these are the starting point fines for situations where you may not have a physical injury at all, that is scary stuff.